What caused the iconic strong friendship of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis to fall apart? As two giants in comedy and entertainment, Dean and Jerry together conquered the world of nightclubs, radio, television, and movies, and became an indispensable part of each other. This assertion was even more certain when they both reached the peak of their careers in the 1950s. However, underneath their on-stage chemistry, tensions and professional disagreements caused their friendship to be broken. To know what happened to Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, watch this video until the end. Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, an iconic comedic duo, first crossed paths in 1944 at the Glass Hat Club in New York City. This chance encounter would mark the beginning of a legendary partnership that would revolutionize the world of entertainment. At the time, both Martin and Lewis were performers, honing their craft in the vibrant atmosphere of the city's nightlife. The pivotal moment came in 1946, when Martin and Lewis made their debut at Atlantic City's 500 Club on July 25th. It wasn't an auspicious start, as the audience did not initially warm up to their act. In fact, the club owner, Skinny D'Amato, was so unimpressed that he issued a threat to terminate their contract if they failed to improve. Faced with this ultimatum, Martin and Lewis decided to shake things up. Abandoning pre-scripted gags, they embraced improvisation. Martin took to the stage, showcasing his singing talents, while Lewis, ever the comedic force, transformed himself into a bumbling busboy. This unconventional approach involved Lewis dropping plates, creating chaos during Martin's songs, and playfully mocking the established decorum of the club. The duo seamlessly blended slapstick comedy with classic vaudeville jokes, capturing the attention and amusement of the audience. Their breakthrough came at the 500 Club, earning them not only approval from Skinny D'Amato, but also a string of lucrative engagements along the Eastern Seaboard. This success reached its zenith with a notable run at New York's prestigious Copacabana Club, solidifying Martin and Lewis as a dynamic and sought-after act in the entertainment world. Central to their act was the dynamic between Martin and Lewis. One of the highlights was Lewis's impromptu interruptions and heckling while Martin attempted to sing. This comedic interplay often escalated into delightful chaos, with the two performers chasing each other around the stage. The chemistry and spontaneity of their interactions resonated with audiences, paving the way for a partnership that would endure and flourish for years to come. The burgeoning success of Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis was not confined to the stage. It seamlessly transitioned into the emerging world of radio and television during the late 1940s and early 1950s. Their foray into the realm of radio began with The Martin and Lewis Show, an NBC series that ran from 1948 to 1953. This radio program allowed the duo to bring their dynamic comedic chemistry to a broader audience, further solidifying their popularity. The show's success laid the foundation for Martin and Lewis to explore other avenues within the entertainment industry. One notable milestone in their television career was their appearance on the first episode of Ed Sullivan's show, Toast of the Town, in June 1948. This was a pivotal moment as Sullivan's show was a major platform that helped catapult entertainers to national fame. Additionally, there is a possibility that they made earlier television appearances on Hourglass, the first TV variety show that aired from May 1946 to March 1947, coinciding with the early days of their formal partnership. A significant television moment occurred on October 30th and 10th, 1948, when Martin and Lewis headlined the first two episodes of the NBC live television variety show Welcome Aboard. The surviving Kinescope footage of these live broadcasts is housed in the UCLA Film and Television Archive, providing a glimpse into the duo's early television performances. April 3, 1949, marked the debut of their television adaptation of the Martin and Lewis radio show on the NBC TV network. Guest starring the legendary Bob Hope, the inaugural program received lackluster reviews in the April 30, 1949. issue of Billboard magazine. Undeterred by the initial response, Martin and Lewis persevered in the television medium, determined to refine and enhance their on-screen presence. Recognizing the need for improvement, Jerry Lewis took a strategic step by hiring young comedy writers Norman Lear and Ed Simmons in 1949. This decision proved pivotal in reshaping the duo's comedic act, as Lear and Simmons quickly became the main writers for Martin and Lewis by 1950. Their creative input and wit played a crucial role in elevating the duo's performances, contributing to their continued success in the evolving landscape of television comedy. Parallel to their television endeavors, Martin and Lewis expanded their reach into the world of cinema in 1949. Paramount Pictures producer Hal Wallace signed them as comedy relief for the film My Friend Irma, marking their entrance into the Hollywood film industry and further solidifying their status as a multifaceted entertainment duo. Dean Martin's transition from New York City to Los Angeles not only marked a geographical change but also a shift in lifestyle that reflected his personal preferences and idiosyncrasies. Despite the bustling energy and vibrant art scene of New York, Martin harbored a lifelong discomfort with the city, stemming in part from his aversion to tall buildings. An interesting facet of Martin's personality was his disdain for tall structures, a sentiment that extended to his claustrophobia, particularly when it came to elevators. The thought of climbing multiple flights of stairs in skyscrapers or being confined in an elevator triggered discomfort for him. This aversion was so pronounced that even when he achieved success and could afford to lease an apartment in a Manhattan high-rise, he deliberately chose a unit on the third floor to avoid the challenges posed by height and elevators. In contrast, Los Angeles resonated more with Martin's sensibilities. The sprawling cityscape and the absence of towering structures made it a more comfortable environment for him. His move to Los Angeles was not merely a change in residence, but also a strategic decision to align his lifestyle with his personal preferences. Their Hollywood agent, Abby Greshler, played a pivotal role in negotiating a favorable deal for Martin and Lewis with Paramount Pictures producer Hal Wallace. The duo received a substantial sum of $75,000 collectively for their films with Wallace, a noteworthy film salary by 1940s standards. Notably, the deal also allowed them the freedom to undertake one outside film per year, and they exercised this privilege by co-producing their own films through their company, York Productions. Their first starring feature, At War with the Army in 1950, exemplified their newfound creative control and entrepreneurial spirit in the film industry. Beyond the silver screen, Martin and Lewis maintained autonomy and control over various aspects of their career. They dictated the terms of their club performances, radio and television appearances, and recording contracts. This autonomy translated into significant financial success, with Martin and Lewis collectively earning millions of dollars through their multifaceted entertainment ventures. A key platform for their comedic prowess during the 1950s was NBC's Colgate Comedy Hour, where Martin and Lewis made regular appearances. This exposure not only solidified their status as comedic icons, but also contributed to the immense popularity and financial success that defined their partnership during this era. The Colgate Comedy Hour became a pivotal platform for Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, showcasing the full spectrum of their talents and solidifying their status as an unprecedented comedic duo. The shows, which aired during the 1950s, were a dynamic blend of various elements that highlighted the versatility of Martin and Lewis's entertainment prowess. The Comedy Hour programs featured musical segments derived from their nightclub performances or movies, accompanied by the lively tunes of Dick Stabile's big band. This musical facet not only showcased Martin's crooning talents, but also demonstrated the duo's ability to seamlessly integrate song and dance into their comedic repertoire. The sketch comedy segments were a hallmark of their shows, encompassing both slapstick and satirical takes on current films and television shows. This allowed Martin and Lewis to display their comedic finesse through a variety of genres, appealing to a broad audience. The incorporation of slapstick humor and satirical sketches reflected their mastery of physical comedy and their keen ability to lampoon popular culture. The individual talents of Martin and Lewis were also spotlighted during the comedy hour. Martin would deliver solo renditions of songs, showcasing his smooth and captivating voice. Meanwhile, Lewis's solo performances featured pantomimes, physical comedy numbers, and even instances of him conducting the orchestra. This diversity in their individual acts added depth and variety to their television presentations. A distinctive aspect of Martin and Lewis's comedy hour shows was their penchant for breaking out of character. The duo would ad-lib and break the fourth wall, engaging directly with the audience. This improvisational approach not only kept the performances fresh and spontaneous, but also showcased the genuine camaraderie between the two entertainers. The success of the Colgate Comedy Hour played a crucial role in establishing Martin and Lewis's popularity nationwide. While there were successful comedy teams before them, Martin and Lewis brought a unique dynamic to the stage. Their friendship, evident both on and off stage, elevated their act to new heights. The chemistry and genuine connection between Martin and Lewis were key factors that resonated with a diverse audience. Jerry Lewis later offered a keen insight into their widespread appeal, categorizing their fans based on individual preferences. Dean's fans comprised men, women, and Italians. Jerry's fans included women, Jews, and kids. However, the magic of Martin and Lewis lay in the fact that, together, they appealed to all demographics. During the early 1950s, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis reached the zenith of their fame, becoming the hottest act in America and the highest-paid duo in show business. A 1951 Life magazine article profiling the dynamic pair during their most successful movie tour promoting That's My Boy attested to their unprecedented popularity and financial success. The movie tour for That's My Boy was not just successful, it was a phenomenon. The duo's performances were so electrifying that audience members were reluctant to leave their seats after the shows concluded. In response to this unprecedented demand, Martin and Lewis started conducting impromptu free shows on fire escapes or through dressing room windows. The streets would quickly fill with adoring fans hoping to catch a prize, a hat, a shoe, or perhaps an autograph. The fervor and excitement generated by their performances transcended the conventional boundaries of entertainment, turning each appearance into a spectacle of adulation. Despite the adulation and success, the relentless pace and pressure began taking a toll on the duo. Dean Martin, in particular, often found himself in the thankless role of the straight man, while his singing had yet to fully develop into the distinctive style that would characterize his later years. Critics lavished praise on Jerry Lewis, acknowledging his comedic brilliance. While they acknowledged Martin as the ideal partner, many critics contended that Lewis was the true talent of the team and could potentially succeed with any comedic collaborator. The strain became apparent, and the dynamics within the duo were evolving. Martin's role as the straight man, though crucial, may have seemed overshadowed by Lewis's exuberant and innovative comedic style. The critics' assessments, while recognizing Martin's contributions, often underscored Lewis's exceptional talent. Jerry Lewis, in his book Dean and Me, offered a more nuanced perspective, praising Dean Martin as one of the great comic geniuses of all time. Lewis's acknowledgement of Martin's comedic prowess and contribution to their partnership shed light on the depth of their bond, transcending the public narratives and critical appraisals. As Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis navigated their contract with Hal Wallace, a prolific collaboration that spanned 16 feature films, the strain on their relationship became increasingly palpable. All these films were released through Paramount Pictures, and the dynamics within the duo underwent a significant transformation during this period. Martin, in particular, began to feel confined by his perpetual straight man roles, as Lewis's comedic antics took center stage and dominated their films. The evolving nature of their collaboration reached a breaking point during the shooting of what would become their final film together, Hollywood or Bust, in the spring and early summer of 1956. The strain on their relationship had escalated to the point where, as Lewis later recounted, he refrained from directly expressing his thoughts to Dean Martin. Instead, director Frank Tashlin became the intermediary, absorbing the tensions and conflicts during the film-making process. The mutual animosity between Martin and Lewis reached a climax during the production of Hollywood or Bust. Lewis revealed that he opted not to convey his thoughts directly to Martin, leading Tashlin to bear the brunt of the discord. The strained atmosphere on set was a testament to the mounting tensions that had accumulated over the course of their collaboration. At a pivotal moment during the production, Martin vented his frustration to Lewis, expressing his sentiments in stark terms. He angrily told Lewis that, from his perspective, Lewis was nothing to me but a fucking dollar sign. This candid and acrimonious statement laid bare the underlying tensions and perhaps unspoken resentments that had festered within the partnership. Following the completion of principal photography for Hollywood or Bust on June 19, 1956, news of their professional breakup reverberated through the press. The announcement marked the end of an era for one of the most iconic comedy duos in entertainment history. Despite the strained relationship, they fulfilled a contractual obligation with a farewell engagement at the Copacabana Club, which concluded on July 25, 1956, exactly 10 years from their first official teaming in Atlantic City. Hollywood or Bust was released in December 1956, serving as the cinematic bookend to the Martin and Lewis era. The film encapsulated the culmination of their creative partnership and reflected the complex emotions that surrounded their professional separation. Following their professional breakup, the aftermath for Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis took divergent paths, reflecting both individual achievements and the lingering impact of their strained partnership. Jerry Lewis recounted that for 2 decades after their split, he and Dean Martin did not engage in private conversations. Lewis later expressed regret over this extended period of silence, describing it as stupid and ignorant. The profound impact of their separation was felt not only in the entertainment industry, but also in their personal relationship, highlighting the complexities that often accompany artistic collaborations. For Dean Martin, the post-Martin and Lewis era marked a significant chapter in his career evolution. His solo career soared to new heights, establishing him as a multifaceted talent. As a recording artist signed to Capitol and later Reprise labels, Martin achieved remarkable success with his distinctive voice and charismatic stage presence. His ventures into film included standout performances in solo projects like Rio Bravo, The Young Lions, and the popular Matt Helm series. Additionally, Martin became an integral member of the Rat Pack, starring alongside fellow luminaries in films like Ocean's 11, Sergeants 3, and Robin and the Seven Hoods. One of the defining milestones of Dean Martin's solo career was the creation of The Dean Martin Show, a television variety series that ran from 1965 to 1974. The show became a massive success, showcasing Martin's charm, humor, and musical talents to a broad audience. This period solidified Martin's status as a beloved entertainer with enduring popularity. Meanwhile, Jerry Lewis continued his career with Paramount Pictures, embarking on a solo journey that saw him not only acting, but also directing a series of commercially successful films. Notable among these were The Bellboy and The Nutty Professor, showcasing Lewis's versatility as both a performer and a filmmaker. At one point, Lewis became Paramount's biggest star, underscoring his ability to command attention and succeed independently. Beyond his contributions to the entertainment industry, Jerry Lewis remained dedicated to philanthropy, a commitment that had begun during his partnership with Martin. He continued his efforts by hosting telethons for muscular dystrophy research until 2010, emphasizing the enduring impact of his charitable work. The dynamics between Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis after their split in 1956 were characterized by periods of distance and occasional spontaneous reunions that provided glimpses into their enduring camaraderie. In 1958, an unexpected and memorable moment occurred on an episode of NBC's The Eddie Fisher Show, where Lewis was a guest. Lewis and host Eddie Fisher were engaged in banter when, to the surprise of the audience, Martin emerged from behind the curtain. In a characteristic quip, Martin told Lewis, "Don't sing. Do what you want, but don't sing." Before Martin could say more, he was promptly pulled back by none other than the legendary Bing Crosby. Although Martin managed to utter a few more words, the overwhelming excitement from the audience drowned them out. Martin's entire appearance lasted a mere 8 seconds, with Crosby briefly sharing the spotlight for 2 seconds. This unexpected and fleeting moment became a memorable snapshot of their post-breakup interactions. In 1960, 4 years after their professional breakup, Martin and Lewis experienced a brief and seemingly impromptu reunion at the Sands Hotel in Las Vegas. Both were performing separate acts at the club, a venue they had frequented during their partnership. Lewis attended Martin's closing act, and Martin, in a surprising move, introduced his former partner to the audience, bringing him on stage. For approximately 15 minutes, they engaged in banter, shared jokes, and even sang a duet of "Come Back to Me." Despite the warmth of this reunion, it remained a unique occurrence and was not replicated in subsequent years. Later in 1960, when Lewis was exhausted and unable to perform his stage act while rushing to finish The Bellboy, Martin stepped in and replaced him. This gesture of camaraderie and support highlighted the enduring bond between the two entertainers. In another lighthearted moment, captured on film in 1961, Martin and Lewis were seen laughing together outside Eddie Fisher's opening at the Coconut Grove nightclub in Los Angeles. These instances of spontaneous reunions provided fans with glimpses of the chemistry and rapport that defined their earlier years as a comedic duo. The reconnection between Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, once considered unlikely after their acrimonious split, evolved into a heartwarming reunion marked by surprises, forgiveness, and genuine friendship. In September 1976, Frank Sinatra played a pivotal role in orchestrating a surprise reconciliation between Martin and Lewis. During Lewis's annual Labor Day telethon for the Muscular Dystrophy Association, Sinatra arranged for Martin to make an unexpected appearance. Sinatra simply informed Lewis, "I have a friend who loves what you do every year." The surprise unfolded flawlessly, with Martin appearing on the telethon set, and the two men, who had not spoken privately for 2 decades, beamed and embraced. During their brief on-air reunion, Lewis humorously asked Martin, so you working?" The behind-the-scenes logistics involved Sinatra secretly bringing Martin into Ed McMahon's dressing room, avoiding any premonitory revelations. The surprise appearance became a major national news event, symbolizing the healing of a long-standing rift. Following this televised reconciliation, Martin and Lewis resumed communication, with Lewis noting that they spoke every day after that. The thawing of their relationship continued to demonstrate the enduring bond that had once made them one of the most iconic comedy duos. In 1987, when tragedy struck Dean Martin with the death of his son, Dean Paul Martin, in a plane crash, Jerry Lewis attended the funeral unannounced. Seated inconspicuously at the back, Lewis did not disclose his presence to Martin. It wasn't until after the funeral that Martin learned about Lewis's silent support. In a poignant gesture, Martin reached out to Lewis and engaged in an hour-long conversation, underscoring the depth of their rekindled connection. Their last public reunion occurred in 1989, on Martin's 72nd birthday at Bally's Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. During Martin's week of shows, Lewis surprised him by presenting a birthday cake and expressing gratitude for the joy Martin had brought to the world. In a light-hearted moment, Lewis quipped, "Why we broke up, I'll never know." This final public reunion, filled with warmth and camaraderie, marked a symbolic closure to their tumultuous history. Despite the animosity that characterized their post-split years, Jerry Lewis penned an affectionate memoir titled Dean and Me, a Love Story in 2005. The memoir offered insights into their partnership and highlighted the genuine affection and admiration Lewis held for Martin. The publication of the memoir was a poignant testament to the enduring bond that had transcended decades of silence, ultimately concluding with the passing of Dean Martin on Christmas Day, 1995. What do you think about the rift in Dean Martin and Louis Broke's relationship? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.